Hey, I'm Karla. Welcome to my home in Bend, Oregon. Today, I'm going to show you how no matter where you live in the US, you can build your own edible garden and harvest your own delicious food. This is Grow Anywhere. I was born and raised in Mexico City. When I first moved to Bend, about 4 years ago, I moved to a community where they had a community garden. That's where I was first exposed to gardening and the benefits of growing your own food. I then moved into this house and they had all these garden beds built, and that's when I really dove deeper into gardening and refined my skills. Growing food here in Bend is really challenging because we live in the high desert. That means our environment is very dry and it gets very cold. So our growing season is very short, and we need to do everything we can to extend our season. What we do to achieve that is we start our seeds very early in the season. We cover everything with mulch, which helps retain the heat and the moisture in the soil. Some put covered hoops over their beds, others build cold frames. What a cold frame is basically an insulated raised bed with a clear lid. And what that does, it helps retain the heat inside the soil when the nights get very cold. So that's what I'm going to show you how to build today. Let's go make one. The first step is to find a spot to place your cold frame. You want to find a sunny area that is facing south. This will help keep the plants warm. Now that we've found the spot, it's time to gather all the materials and start building. And remember, measure twice, cut once. When cutting your vertical supports, make sure to cut the ones in the back a few inches taller. This way, you'll get the slant you need for your cover. Now that you have everything cut, let's put it together. When you're building your frame, make sure to pre-drill your holes so that the wood doesn't split. First, you need to attach the vertical supports to the base layer. Vertical supports will help you get the stability you need to support your frame. And then you can add the second layer. The lid for a cold frame needs to be at an angle in order to trap the heat. So now we're going to install the third layer with slanted boards to give it that angle. I'm using 2x2s and 6mm greenhouse plastic to build the lid. Use a staple gun to attach your plastic to the frame. Make sure the plastic is nice and tight and cut off any excess plastic. Any hinge will work to attach your lid to the box. Last, you just need a handle. Make sure you secure your lid. In this case, I used a hook and a bungee cord. One of the most important parts of building a cold frame is to insulate it. You can use anything from hay, woven mats, or foam board. I had some extra foam board lying around and decided to use that. Don't worry about attaching it to the cold frame though, the soil will hold it up. Once you have your insulation in, it's time to put your soil in. And I like to use a mix of organic soil, compost, and peat moss. Compost and peat moss are great amendments to add to your soil. They will help improve your soil structure and add nutrients, which will in turn help your plants. So don't be afraid to get your hands dirty and mix it well. Now that the cold frame is built and the lid is on, it's time to plant. Picking what vegetables to plant is very important. Nightshades like tomatoes and peppers do not do well in the cold. I recommend planting hardy greens like kale, collards, or arugula. You can also try some root vegetables like beets, carrots, and turnips. As I mentioned earlier, it's a good idea to plant starts, but I will be sowing in the seeds directly into the soil. When direct sowing seeds into the ground, I always like to use markers that identified where each plant will grow. Now that everything is planted, you want to make sure to give your seeds or starts a healthy dose of water. I also like to add a layer of hay on top. This is another way to insulate the ground and keep the heat and moisture in the soil. When doing this at home, remember these helpful tips. Never use pressure-treated wood, place your cold frame facing south, insulate your cold frame, and always use good soil. I'll see you again when these plants are ready for harvest. Welcome back! It's been a few weeks since I planted everything and now it's time to harvest. Part of gardening in the cold and gardening in general is learning to adapt when things don't go well. While some of the plants came through, some of the seeds didn't germinate. That is why I recommend using starts when planting in cold frames. In the areas where the seeds didn't germinate, I replanted microgreens. The lettuce I planted came out great, so that I will use in all sorts of salads. The kale is still a little sparse, but I will use a couple of leaves here and there to spruce up a salad. When it grows, I can use it for smoothies, soups, veggie bowls, or kale chips. The microgreens are full of vitamins and minerals, so those I put on pretty much everything. I hope you enjoyed this video and picked up some helpful tips about gardening in the cold. I'd love to hear how your cold frame harvest turns out, so leave a comment below and let me know. I'll see you next time. Bye!